After Punk hit Taker with the urn and then he went for the pin, his junk was like an inch above Taker's head. It was like right there in his face. I did like the callback to the first one. Cena was going to do the people's elbow, and then he ran the ropes and stopped himself. It's like, I got you.
And if it was anybody other than Ryback, I'd be really pissed off about this finish. I'm okay seeing Ryback look like a dumbass.
The crowd wasn't into this match.
Someone had the bright idea to spray dry ice on a moist, shirtless Triple H, and Triple H let them.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
It's funny though. Oh. I thought this is what Brock Lesnar's about to make him look like anyway. So there's a bunch of people speaking Spanish, Italian, Yiddish. It's like you don't know what they're playing.
Well, moving on, we have WrestleMania 29, marketed as New York, New Jersey. And we are in actually East Rutherford, New Jersey. And it starts off with former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. He put his Twinkie down long enough to narrate a Hurricane Sandy video. Pretty sure he was out of breath by the end of it. If not, they spliced several sessions together so he could sound composed. They have the National Guard on the entrance area, feebly waving the American flags to and fro. I thought it looked weird. And then we have another video, just a standard WrestleMania package, which they didn't put too much effort in.
Yeah, they did it on the first one.
And nobody sang America the Beautiful, at least not on the actual show. And we have JBL, Cole, and Lawler on commentary. And we just get right into it. Big Show, Randy Orton, and Sheamus versus The Shield. At first, I thought the Big Show was just out there to get powerbombed through the announce desk, but that didn't happen. Looking back through, I guess, hindsight, the Shield were kind of corny with the bulletproof vests. Especially Ambrose. He looked like a kid playing dress up. He definitely improved his look.
Yeah, he looked so young.
He looked young and with the hair. Rollins forward rolled over the barricade, which I thought was kind of cool. This was, again, when he was enjoyable. And we had Sheamus and Roman starting. They just beat the fuck out of each other. In fact, I could have just watched that and been happy. It was really surreal watching Sheamus and Roman as equals. In fact, I would say at this point, Sheamus would be over Roman.
Yeah.
So Orton got in, did his limb stomps. Ambrose got tagged in, and he's definitely the West Borland of this group. I had no idea what he was doing with his hands. Looked like he was doing the robot. Orton and Sheamus worked as a team. Big Show had to tag himself in to get some action. And then he ripped off Ambrose's vest and shushed him in the corner. Orton and Sheamus laughed about it. Ambrose slapped Big Show and got the shit smacked out of him for it. Then Ambrose got Show off his feet. Shield take turns beating his ass. Roman hit a Superman punch. Roman had a bit of Luger in him with the screaming. He's like, "Ah, whoa!" Just reminded me of Luger.
There was a lot of screaming.
And faces. That's improvement.
Yeah, that's their debut, so yes.
That's their WrestleMania debut.
That's what I mean. That's their first year.
Looking at Roman in this match compared to the Roman we see today, leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Ambrose was over, though.
I don't know why.
I think because he was pretty much known in the Indies, or people knew about him in the Indies. Well, Tyler Black.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Known, but I don't know.
I would say Tyler Black more than Ambrose, because John Moxley did the CZW shit.
Probably. Tyler
Black, he was in Ring of Honor, which is a little bit more prestigious.
Yeah, I think he had just made like one of the top lists, top up-and-comer lists.
I don't know. I was never an Ambrose fan, so I don't get it. Sheamus did the beats of the Who's-Its to Rollins in the Shield corner while Ambrose just stood and watched. And then Sheamus did a rolling senton to Ambrose, and then a rolling senton to Rollins on top of Ambrose. Everybody fought on the floor. Rollins did a suicide dive to everybody. Sheamus got rolled in the ring. Looks like he's about to get the Shield powerbomb. Big Show made a save by crashing into everyone with a spear. Then they do a spot where Sheamus is crawling to the Big Show for a desperation tag. Orton comes in at the last minute, tags himself in. Big Show just stood and pouted. Orton hits his highlights on Ambrose. He gears up for the RKO. Rollins comes in from behind with a springboard something. He got RKO'd. And Roman catches Orton with a spear when he turns around. And Ambrose gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. Big Show pouted some more while the Shield celebrated. After the Shield leaves, they left through the crowd. Big Show starts to tear into Orton. He's yelling at him. "You blew it!" Then Big Show knocks out Sheamus and Orton. And I'm like, what did Sheamus do? Sheamus is just getting in the ring, and Big Show just turns around and hits him. And somehow we're supposed to be against Big Show, even though he's the one that was fucked by his team.
Well, I mean, the way they did it, I don't know. He was just trying to tag. Yeah, at the beginning, he was picking. I forgot who was tagging in, but
It was Sheamus and Orton.
they
They
were
would only
tagging
tag
each
each other
other.
in. And then Big Show had to tag himself in. And then Sheamus was crawling to Big Show. Orton tagged himself in. And then Big Show rightfully got into it with Orton after the match. Now, I don't understand why he knocked out Sheamus. That was kind of weird. But I thought he was justified with what he did to Orton. I don't think that totally made him a bad guy. Not the bad guy how they were portraying it. They were like, oh, Big Show's evil.
Yeah, the Sheamus part was the bad guy part, but yeah, what he did with Orton was justified. Even the standing and watching him get pinned, like, you said you had it. Go ahead. I guess they had to play it up for the Shield to always have an advantage. Because that's what they were playing up. Oh, when they're even, they have an advantage, so.
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind that they won. It's just the end with them portraying Big Show to be this dastardly heel when he just knocked his teammates out because they fucked him. They
yeah,
wanted
he was actually being good.
He bullied the bullies.
Yeah.
So as Big Show's walking away, JBL says, 3 great individuals, 3 gay champions, not a great team.
I didn't hear it, but I'm sure
I did. I listened to it 3 times. So Cena Rock had a video package. Cena says life's been ruined for him since losing to The Rock last year. He even had a divorce. They show Cena losing everybody. He finally wins the Royal Rumble, ends up challenging The Rock, who had beaten CM Punk, unfortunately, for the title.
Earlier that night.
Then they debuted a belt even uglier than the spinner title. And yeah, Cena wants redemption. Rock says, you think you can beat me. I know I can beat you. Okay.
I did just think it was weird that they actually used Cena's real life divorce.
That was a bit odd.
Yeah. He couldn't even keep up with his shit at home.
He can't keep his dick hard.
He couldn't even have sex with his wife because he lost to The Rock. I didn't even know he was married.
Yeah, he was.
That was news to me. I know he got with Nikki Bella and they got engaged, but I didn't know he was married.
I seem to remember a thing with Mickie James.
Oh. Boy, he dropped the ball there then.
Mark Henry versus Ryback. Ryback and Mark Henry have been fussing and feuding, and they have a no contact order leading up to WrestleMania. So naturally, that means that they have to have a bench press competition. And Mark Henry tried to murder Ryback with the barbell. When his number was tied, Ryback was at number 53, and Mark Henry was like, oh, hell no. But the important thing that they want us to remember is there was no physical contact between Henry and Ryback when Mark Henry was trying to murder Ryback. He was being choked to death.
He didn't touch him, though.
He didn't. So they meet in the middle of the ring. It's not even close, size-wise. Lawler even pointed it out. It's like a bear versus a mountain lion. So they've been fighting so much that they need to have an order in place to stay separated. We even saw Henry just try to assassinate Ryback with the weightlifting apparatus. So the most logical way for this match to start is by running into each other, of course. So they do that a couple times. Then Ryback starts hammering Mark Henry with clotheslines, backing him into the ropes. Henry just comes back with a monster clothesline and Ryback's on his ass. Henry does a running power slam. Ryback tries to suplex Mark Henry, and Henry just picks Ryback up and drops him on the apron. Then he beats the fuck out of Ryback and locks in a bear hug, which I'd love me a good old bear hug, especially when it's a big muscular son of a bitch like Mark Henry. Mark Henry dumps Ryback out of the ring for a second time, screams, "That's what I do!" He does a bunch of slams and bear hugs. Eventually, Ryback starts to fight back, actually gets Mark Henry off his feet. Ryback screams, "Finish it!" He actually gets Mark Henry up for a shell shock, but Mark Henry grabs the ropes, ends up crushing Ryback. 1, 2, 3. After the match, medical staff come to check on Ryback. Henry just gets back in the ring, chases him off. He screams, "Let him suffer! Get out!" Then Ryback ends up shell shocking Mark Henry, unfortunately, and he had to scream, "Finish it!" before the post-match shell shock. So I don't know what he was finishing. If it was anyone
That was
other
just
than...
a slow thing.
I fucking hate it. And if it was anybody other than Ryback, I'd be really pissed off about this finish. I'm okay seeing Ryback look like a dumbass, because he is a dumbass.
There you go. The crowd wasn't into this match at all.
I was into it because it was Mark Henry. I liked seeing Mark Henry work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were expecting between two massive men as they were, but I don't know. It's just these massive men matches. They go slow because they're showing you how much power they have. I just don't know what they were expecting. It
I was just
was
like,
weird, the finish. He just fell on Mother. That
yeah, it was very abrupt.
and then he tried to sell it. Oh, yeah, he fell on his head.
Yeah, they tried to give Ryback some credibility, but that wasn't it, son. I just love the let him suffer.
And watching it, I was like, what do people have against Ryback? Probably something he did online, but he's just a big meaty guy. He had the clothesline called the meat hook.
When he quit, he suggested that the mid card guys should get paid just as much as the upper card guys. So in theory, Tozawa should be making just as much, or if not more, than Cody Rhodes.
Mm.
When he quit, he wished WWE the best of luck in their future endeavors. I think he's had maybe 1 or 2 wrestling matches since. I could be wrong there, but he's done nothing. He's just a dick.
So it is outside the ring stuff.
Yeah. Clearly, nobody wants to work with him. Nobody signed him since. He posted, what brand do you want to see me sign to next? And it was AEW, TNA, WWE, Retire. And Retire won by a landslide. He had to remove the post because he's a fucking stupid ass.
Or he knows how to generate attention.
Well, I mean,
he made those choices, so he knew what putting that out there was going to do. Because I also saw something about him saying he was going to come back.
So, come back where?
I don't know. To WWE?
No chance.
Well, he also says AEW too. So I think he just trolls.
I don't know. Just the way he publicly quit, how vocal he's been against the WWE. And this motherfucker is selling vitamins from his basement and eating fast food from his car. Oh, the pickles are really crisp. Fuck you.
Living his best life.
If that's your best life, then good on you. Anyway, there's a Special Olympics ad. I didn't know they were allowed to do karate or swim, but they did. So that's nice for them. Then Chris Christie waddled out with Stephanie McMahon and some Special Olympians to pander.
Fair enough.
And Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler with AJ Lee versus Team Hell No. That's Daniel Bryan and Kane. That's for the WWE Tag Championship. And Ziggler is the Money in the Bank holder. Can't tell you how refreshing it is not to have to sit through one of those fucking matches every WrestleMania.
Yep, they're on their own pay-per-view now.
So Big E beat the shit out of Kane and Daniel Bryan on the Raw before Mania. Big E even powered out of the choke slam from Kane. He made a grotesque face while doing so. And Daniel Bryan and Kane did not have a theme mashup, which made me sad. Like, of all the theme mashups, that would have been awesome. Bryan was doing his nose on his way to the ring, and Kane ditched the welder's mask. So they start off by teasing Bryan's WrestleMania last year with Ziggler and AJ Lee. Ziggler kisses AJ Lee, and then Bryan beats the fuck out of Ziggler until Big E is tagged in. And then Big E and Kane go at it. Big E picks up Kane, does a bunch of backbreakers, and then fights out of a choke slam again. Kane gets his ass whooped by Big E and Ziggler for a minute, then goes to tag in Bryan. And then Ziggler gets in, cuts Bryan off, tries and fails to hit Kane with a stinger splash. Kane starts beating on Ziggler, then goes for a clothesline from the top rope. Ziggler sidestepped it, and he hits Kane with a Fameasser. And Bryan comes in with a save. Ziggler takes out Bryan with a dropkick, goes to the top rope. Kane punches Ziggler in the throat on the way down. Big E breaks up the pin with a huge splash. Then he tries to hit Kane with a big ending. And Kane escapes, dumps Big E out of the ring. Bryan nails Big E with a running knee from the apron. Ziggler hits a zigzag on Kane when he's not looking for a 2 count. And AJ Lee slides in the Money in the Bank briefcase into Ziggler and blatantly starts distracting the referee. Like, hey, I'm distracting you. And Ziggler tries to clobber Kane with the briefcase. Kane ducked, hits a big boot and a choke slam, tags in Bryan so he can do a diving headbutt. 1, 2, 3. And Kane and Daniel Bryan hugged after the match.
Yeah, pretty standard match there.
I thought it was pretty enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, I liked how Big E was presented.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
This guy was a monster.
Fandango versus Chris Jericho. A bunch of ladies dressed in blue are dancing on the stage. Fandango comes out with another lady dressed in white. They start dancing. I probably would have told Fandango to lose the gum. He actually did spit it out before going to the ring, which I thought was dumb. He's ballroom dancing. It was really distracting.
Yeah, it was pretty noticeable.
So Jericho and Fandango are having a match because Jericho keeps intentionally mispronouncing Fandango's name. It's a good reason to have a WrestleMania match. At the end of his entrance, Fandango is just standing in the ring, slightly swiveling his hips, while the lady in white does the splits at his feet, which I thought was really weird. The match starts with Fandango dancing, and Jericho just beats his ass. Ironically, there's a sign in the crowd that says if Fandango actually wrestles, we riot. They did not live up to their end of the agreement. Jericho beats on Fandango so much that the ref has to get involved. Then he hits a code breaker. Fandango rolls out to safety. Jericho hits a splash from the top rope to the floor. Goes for a springboard turnbuckle move. Fandango meets him with a kick to the face. He beats on Jericho for a bit. Jericho ends up firing back and hits a double axe handle from the top rope. He hits an enziguri and a crossbody, but can't put Fandango away. Then Fandango throws Jericho's shoulder first into the ring post. Then it takes a long ass time for him to hit a guillotine leg drop for a near fall. Jericho fights back, attempts a lion tamer. Fandango fights out and levels Jericho. He goes for another guillotine leg drop, but Jericho knocks him off the ropes. He sets Fandango up for a superplex. Fandango fights out of it, but misses a third guillotine leg drop attempt. So Jericho goes for a lion salt. Fandango gets his knees up. Jericho goes for a lion tamer. Then all of a sudden, Jericho's knees mysteriously fucked up. So then Fandango hooks in a small package, 1, 2, 3. And the crowd gave no reaction to the Fandango upset. They were silent as fuck.
Yeah. I get it. I was just waiting for that match to be over. I don't know.
We got a dark match recap. Wade Barrett defended his Intercontinental title against The Miz. Barrett hit all of his moves on The Miz, then submitted to the figure 4. And yeah, they wasted the fuck out of Barrett.
On the pre-show, for that matter.
The Intercontinental title on the pre-show. I think that's the second year in a row.
I believe it.
So we get another Rock Cena video package. People did bad Rock impressions. Then The Rock said he's the people's champion.
More vignettes or whatever.
Yes. Then P. Diddy rapped a little bit. Hey, what an entrance he had. Like, goddamn. I thought they were debuting somebody.
He also was at the last WrestleMania, too. He introduced Flo Rida.
Well,
I guess he did something so good that they wanted him to come back. I wonder what that could be.
So Diddy sang like the beginning parts of 2 songs. Then some bitch came out to sing I'm Coming Home over and over again. While Diddy rapped some other song. And I don't think he actually did one full song.
He didn't. He just said like the chorus more so.
It was really weird. And then we find out that Diddy is an ambassador for WWE's anti-bullying campaign.
Wonder if he's still that.
Probably. Swagger and Del Rio are next. The video package starts off pretty reasonable with Mantell saying there's too many people in this country that doesn't look like him taking up all the country's jobs and resources. Del Rio, somehow positioned as the face in this scenario, quotes some Statue of Liberty jargon, says America is the land of opportunity while making no attempt to assimilate to American culture. Mantell says Del Rio wasn't born here and only came to exploit the rewards of our motherland, and he needs to leave. Del Rio says he's trying to provide a better life for his family. Swagger says Del Rio is part of the problem, and we, the people, are going to fix it. Then he breaks Ricardo Rodriguez's ankle. And Swagger and Mantell are shown pummeling Del Rio with crutches. I don't see what the problem is.
Well, I told you that We the People gimmick would hit different in 2024.
I think it would hit different 2022, but 2023, 24, I think some people are like, it's making some sense.
Well, when you start out the thing with, there's people who don't look like me around here.
Well, yeah, that's true. He rubbed his face.
Yeah. And then he was like, there's a bunch of people speaking Spanish, Italian, Yiddish. He's like, you don't know what they're playing. Which is true.
Yeah. So we have Jack Swagger with Judge Mantell versus Alberto Del Rio. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I guess the video package was Swagger's entrance. Mantell has a camo golf cart with the Gadsden flag and an American flag. I think it's hilarious that he has a golf cart. I live in an area where there's a lot of golf carts. There's in fact a man with a big Trump flag like painted on to his golf cart. And he just drives around like he owns the town. So Mantell grabs the mic, says he and Swagger are real Americans. Says he walked the streets of New York. When did we let them take over? New York was once a beacon of prosperity. Now it's not even worth the beans we paid for it. New York is just a cesspool of criminals, illegals that snuck across the border into our country speaking Spanish, Italian, Greek, Chinese, and something called Yiddish. What in the hell is Yiddish anyway? Plotting God knows what against us. Crowd, of course, boos. Mantell says, "You can boo all you want. You know you agree with me. Either you're too afraid to say something or you're too gutless to do anything about it. Real Americans aren't. And tonight, Jack Swagger will reclaim this country by walking out as World Heavyweight Champion. We, the people." So Del Rio beats the fuck out of Swagger until Mantell provides a distraction. Swagger tosses Del Rio into the ring post. Del Rio tries to win with a crucifix pin. Swagger hits a big boot, Swagger bomb. Then Del Rio starts running wild on Swagger and stomps on Mantell's hand for no reason. Well, I guess it wasn't for no reason, but there was no reason to do it at that point in time. Like, Mantell wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Del Rio does a super kick while Swagger was on his knees. Then he gets a C chant going while signaling for the armbar. Swagger counters the armbar with a slam, goes for an ankle lock. Del Rio escapes, pushes Swagger into the corner, misses an enziguri. Swagger goes for a Swagger bomb. Del Rio crotches him on the ropes. He starts to pummel him. Del Rio hits a German suplex, goes for an armbar again. Swagger blocks it, hits a gut wrench powerbomb. Swagger gets the ankle lock again. Del Rio tried to crawl to the ropes. Swagger drags Del Rio to the middle of the ring, attempts to vine Del Rio's leg, but fucks it up. And I'm like, how the fuck do you fuck up a leg vine? But he did. And Del Rio got the armbar. Swagger reversed it, got the ankle lock again. Del Rio crawled to the ropes. Swagger goes for another Swagger bomb. Del Rio escapes, kicks Swagger in the head, landing on his injured ankle. He leaves his feet to kick Swagger in the head, and he lands. Doesn't even wince.
It's adrenaline, of course.
Oh, of course. Del Rio hits another enziguri. Mantell puts Swagger's foot on the ropes. Ricardo comes over to yell at Mantell, and Mantell just kicks Ricardo's crutches from under him. So that was funny. So Del Rio comes to Ricardo's defense. He and Mantell have a standoff with Ricardo's crutches. Swagger attacks Del Rio from behind, tosses him back in the ring. Then Del Rio locks in the armbar again when Swagger comes back in for him. Swagger is forced to tap. There was a lot of Spanish spoken after the match.
Great American hero winning there.
Yep.
To be fair for the gimmick there, they do add Cesaro, who's Italian, so kind of saves it there, I guess. I don't know.
He's an Italian nationalist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the gimmick. Del Rio is not a good face. He does not come across as a decent guy. He might be. He might be a sweetheart.
You mean in real life?
Yeah, like from his interviews and stuff, he just carries himself as an arrogant guy.
Well, he did some stuff to Paige.
Well, whatever. I'm not talking about that.
Takes him out of the good guy.
Just the way he carries himself, he does not make a good face. He is a heel.
Yeah, and his character is like the rich Mexican, so I don't know how you get that face. But they do kind of ruin everything about him. They turn him face, they get rid of the ring announcer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've taken everything away. They got rid of the cars.
He's the rich Mexican that came to America for a better opportunity. Yeah, that don't work.
I mean, it could. If you're like Scarface.
But Scarface wasn't rich. He wasn't rich in Cuba and then came over to America and got more rich.
Isn't the story that he got rich here? Not that he was already rich?
I always envisioned him as like a cartel guy.
Probably. Yeah, he did debut with the scarves and stuff.
Yeah. He had the Del Rio with the villa in the background.
Oh, with his vignettes? Yeah.
I just assumed he was rich in Mexico.
I don't know. I don't remember all the vignettes, to be honest. I just think overall they took everything about what made his presentation work towards the end.
And they try to make him face, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah. And then it was on him. Oh, you didn't get it over.
It's like when they try to make Brock Lesnar a face. Brock Lesnar is not a face. He's not a good guy.
I mean, he pulls it off a little better.
A little, but I don't like Happy Brock. I think the Brock's going to pop you like a zit.
Like the one we're about to get?
Yep. So WWE showcased the National Guard for New Jersey. For some reason, their relationship needs to be featured at WrestleMania, as opposed to any other time of the year.
Of course.
Then we have a Undertaker Punk video package. So Taker is honoring Paul Bearer by giving honor to the urn that used to be a big part of Taker's gimmick. And then Punk interrupted. Tells Undertaker that he extends his heartfelt condolences for his loss at WrestleMania. Punk tells Undertaker to Paul Bearer, "You'll always be a perfect 20-0, but to everybody else, you're going to be 20-1. Punk ends up stealing the urn and attacks Kane with it, while Undertaker bows to it again at the entrance ramp. Punk mimics Bearer's voice while making the urn talk, which I thought was funny. Tells us the Bearer said that if Undertaker is disqualified or counted out during their match, it's still a loss. which of course they count out as a loss. When is that new?
It's not new. He was just reminding people. You know, you got to educate the audience.
If they count to 3 during a pin, that's a loss too.
Sure is.
Punk says the urn means a whole lot to The Undertaker, but it doesn't mean a damn thing to him. He throws it down, says The Undertaker will rest in peace. Undertaker appears from behind Punk, beats his ass. Urn ends up rolling out of the ring. Heyman snatches it, runs away with it like a child. Undertaker tells Punk for the disrespect he's shown Paul Bearer, defeating him is no longer good enough. The streak may come to an end, but Punk will never live to talk about it. Then we see Undertaker interrupted by a bunch of druids coming out. Heyman's dressed like Paul Bearer. Taker goes after Heyman on the entrance ramp, but then realizes it's a setup and starts beating the shit out of the druids. Sure enough, Punk turns out to be one of the druids, starts pummeling the Undertaker with the urn, then pours the ashes on Undertaker and himself. He even licks the ashes from his hand. Ew. And
yeah, I don't know what he was going for there. I get maybe you sniff it if you were going to do something like that, but you know, that ain't any better, but it's better than licking dust. I was actually surprised in the vignette that he didn't start coughing when he did it too.
Right? Or sneeze. So CM Punk and Paul Heyman versus The Undertaker. Well, CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus The Undertaker. Living Color sang Punk's themes live. It was way better than Diddy. Punk still has the urn when he comes out. Undertaker has probably the best entrance of his career. Hands reaching up on the entranceway from hell, trying to pull Undertaker back down. Awesome visual. So Punk started tossing the urn up in the air when Undertaker was wrapping up his entrance, which I thought was funny. So the bell rings and Punk is on the Undertaker like a rabid animal. He slaps him twice. Taker tosses Punk out of the ring, rams his spine in the ring post, clears off the Spanish announce desk, hits an apron leg drop, goes for old school. Punk counters with an arm drag from the top rope. Then Punk hits a old school on Undertaker himself, and Taker fucks his knee up on the turnbuckle, gives Punk an opening to kick his ass for a while. He tries old school again before slipping off the rope and crotching himself. So Paul Heyman saves Undertaker's life by preventing a suicide dive. Then Taker goes to chokeslam Heyman on the apron. Punk nails him from behind with a springboard clothesline. He hits a savage elbow drop for 2. He leans on the power of the urn and signals for a GTS. Undertaker escapes and hits a chokeslam. And then he hits a snake eyes, goes for a big boot. Punk meets him with a Savio Vega kick, shuts it down. He goes to the floor, clears the rest of the Spanish announce desk off. Taker recovers, tries to last ride Punk through the table. Punk escapes the last ride, and he kicks Undertaker in the head, so he falls on the desk. And Punk climbs the top rope, delivers another savage elbow drop, and they both just bounce off the table. It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, it didn't break.
So then Punk gets in the ring, writhes in pain while clutching his knee. Undertaker beats the 10 count. Heyman screams at Punk to do anything he has to do. Anything. And Punk crawls over to the Undertaker. Taker locks in the Hell's Gate. Punk reverses the Hell's Gate, locks in an Anaconda Vice. Undertaker teases passing out, then just powers out of it and goes for another choke slam. Punk escapes the choke slam, hits a GTS. Then Undertaker bounces off the ropes and hits Punk with a tombstone. And they called that dumb shit a supernatural counter. A Punk kicks out at the last possible second. Heyman holds up the urn and screams into the heavens like, ah! They start trading punches. Taker no-sells again and goes for a third choke slam. Ref is taken out by Punk's flailing. Heyman distracts Undertaker so Punk can kick him in the stomach, then attempts to do a Shining Wizard Bulldog combo. Undertaker catches Punk while he's doing the wizard and goes for a last ride. Heyman hands Punk the urn, which he uses to crack over Undertaker's skull. Punk makes the cover, mocking Undertaker's pose. Taker kicks out. Looks like the fans really thought it was going to end at that point too, which I guess I can't blame them. I think they thought Punk was going to win this one.
I remember I thought so too when it was going on.
Like if it was going to be anybody.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, you know, he had the Summer of Punk, which was a letdown. He lost to Triple H, which was a letdown. There's that whole shit with Laurinaitis and Kevin Nash. His title run, it was pretty lackluster. He wasn't really featured. Cena was still the guy. I just didn't see him beating The Undertaker, I guess is what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
So Punk does a throat slash, goes for another GTS. Taker fights out of the GTS, goes for a tombstone. Punk fights out of the tombstone, goes for a GTS again. Taker just powers Punk into a tombstone, 1, 2, 3. And Undertaker got his urn back.
And then pay tribute to Mr. Paul Bearer.
Yes.
But I thought this was a pretty A+ match.
Stellar match. I didn't like that last tombstone. I didn't like the idea of him just clutching onto Punk. That was weird.
That's fair. After Punk hit Taker with the urn and then he went for the pin, his junk was like an inch above Taker's head.
Yeah.
It was like right there in his face. That has nothing to do with the match.
Or does it?
But yeah, there was the good counters back and forth. I like more so at the end of the match, when it picked up. The beginning, you got to tell your story, so you got to get there. But the counters and the near falls, they all worked for me.
I just appreciate the way Punk played it because the size difference was obviously very noticeable, but throughout the match, it didn't really make a difference.
Yeah. Some of that's probably the Undertaker too, though.
Oh, yeah. I think he likes to wrestle. The big man versus big man stuff, I think he gets a little tired of, which he hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah. He started out those early WrestleManias, big versus big, but now he's like small working as a wrestler now. But this is the run where everybody says, oh, yeah, this is the best Undertaker of his career. Like these runs. Again, he's just wrestling one match a year now, so
Yeah.
He's got time to prepare for it.
I think this is probably the last good Undertaker WrestleMania match.
Well, they're in New Orleans. I know we're getting close to it. I don't know if I'm ready for it, though.
Well, a commercial for Mankind's stupid documentary cuts in, and then they have another fucking Rock Cena video package. I skipped it. I get it. It's the main event. It's a big match.
Yeah, I think this one was the Cena part of it. He told everybody he was going to win last year, and he didn't, and he had to basically re-find himself.
So we get a Triple H Brock Lesnar video package. We find out that an end of an era for Triple H means his long hair is gone. And I think he should have ditched the leather jacket too, because he just looked odd. He must have just cut it too, because long hair Triple H is featured in the package as well, which is really weird. Seeing hairless Triple H in the ring and then long hair Triple H. So Brock came back and he breaks Triple H's arm twice. It's so bad, Triple H thinks his career is over. Then Triple H starts working out. And he says he's looking for a reason, because his shattered arm wasn't enough of one. So Brock F5's Vince, who had just gotten hip surgery, and Stephanie and the kids are crying at Vince's bedside, but Triple H is smiling on the inside because he found his reason. Again, shattered arm. So Triple H comes back, attacks Brock with the chair. Brock bleeds. Triple H challenges him to a WrestleMania match. He says, "What's it going to be, Brock? Going to show up and fight? Or are you just going to sit there and bleed?" Heyman comes out later, tells Triple H he needs to sign the match contract before he finds out what stipulations Heyman and Lesnar decided. We also find out Shawn Michaels' arm got broken. Fuck you, Shawn. You're not reason enough apparently either.
Nope.
So Heyman teases a blindfold match with Triple H's arms and legs shackled. He's like, I want to make it personal between Brock and Triple H. Like, the winner of the match gets Triple H's wife, Stephanie. Heyman says, but since we're talking personal, wouldn't it be more fitting if the loser gets Stephanie? Well, this sets Triple H off. And he kicks Heyman's ass, signs the contract. Lesnar appears with a chair. Triple H has a sledgehammer. Heyman appears on camera on the entranceway with his hair fucked up like he just went down on an entire football team. Says that their match will be a no count out, no disqualification, no holds barred. Also, Triple H's career is on the line, making the conclusion of this match predictable.
It actually wasn't for me, because I know we're towards the end of Triple H's in-ring stuff. I was like, maybe it's here, but...
No. Triple H still has Saudi to do. He has to put Roman over. He has his title run.
Do we have the yes movement? No, that's already happened.
Yeah. He wins the belt one more time, I think.
Oh, yeah, long way to go. But I thought they mentioned he was like COO now.
He still wrestled.
I guess so.
So we have Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus Triple H. Shawn Michaels was with him. And it's no holds barred. Triple H has to retire if he loses. And Shawn Michaels got his own special little entrance. Someone had the bright idea to spray dry ice on a moist, shirtless Triple H. And Triple H let them.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Okay. It's funny, though. Oh. I thought this is what Brock Lesnar's about to make him look like anyway, so...
So yeah, it just starts off as a fight. They fight in the ring. They fight out of the ring. Brock grabs a chair early. Triple H manages to get it away from him. Heyman steals the chair from the floor before Triple H can use it. Brock hits a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. He just picks Triple H up and tosses him through the Spanish announce desk with a standing suplex. And then Brock screamed like a maniac. Brock gives Triple H another belly-to-belly suplex on the collapsed announce desk and then laughs like a maniac. He starts dragging Triple H on the floor, then runs off Michaels for no reason. They get back in the ring. Lesnar gets an ovation from the fans. Heyman screams, "You can't compete with Brock Lesnar!" Triple H tries to fight back. Lesnar just hits him with another belly-to-belly suplex. He picks Triple H up, screams at Michaels to get Triple H to give up before giving him a German suplex. Then he grins at Michaels. Brock hits another German suplex, tosses Triple H into the turnbuckle so hard he tumbles out of the ring. For some reason, Brock allows himself to be distracted by Michaels so Triple H can recover. And he cracks Brock in the back with a chair. Brock hits another German suplex. And Heyman and Michaels climb their aprons at the same time, and Brock just levels Michaels. And Triple H hits Brock with a spine buster, goes for a pedigree. Brock fights out of the pedigree, goes for an F5. Michaels is waiting with a sweet chin music. Brock drops Triple H. He catches Michaels' foot, and Michaels gets F5'd. Then Triple H hits his pedigree, and Brock kicks out. So Triple H grabs a sledgehammer from under the ring, and he gets F5'd when he goes after Brock with it. But he kicks out. So then Brock cracks Triple H in the back with a chair, and he bellows, "I'll play with chairs too!" And he creams Triple H with the steel steps. He throws the base of the steel steps into the ring. He levels Triple H and grabs him by the throat and screams, "It's over! Now retire!" And Triple H just slaps him across the face. He goes for another pedigree. Brock fights out, locks in the Kimura. Triple H reaches the ropes, and the ref actually told Triple H, "Tough titties. This is a no disqualification match." Who would have fucking thought? So Triple H fights out of the Kimura. Brock just keeps going back to it. Eventually, Brock sits on the top ropes and applies the Kimura lock while his legs are wrapped around Triple H's torso. And then Triple H just picks Brock up and slams him on the mat. And miraculously, his arm didn't break a third time. Or his shoulder didn't dislocate or something. So Brock misses a shoulder tackle in the corner. Triple H comes from behind to punch Brock's ball sack. And he starts fucking up Brock's arm. He wraps it around the ring post. Smacks it with a chair against the ring post. Then again with the chair while Brock's arm was resting on the steel steps. Then Triple H applies the Kimura lock to Brock. Brock screams at Heyman to help. Heyman grabs a chair. Michaels is there to hit him with sweet chin music. Then they tease Brock tapping for a long ass time. Then he just picks Triple H up, slams him on the steel steps. Miraculously, his arm wasn't broken either. Then Triple H recovers, locks in the Kimura again. Brock slams Triple H in the steel steps again. Triple H locks in the Kimura a third time. Brock goes to slam Triple H in the steel steps again. And somehow Triple H turned it into a DDT. And Triple H grabs the sledgehammer, nails Brock with it, delivers a pedigree on the steel steps. 1, 2, 3. And Michaels and Triple H hugged after the match.
Again, exciting ending. I guess the story they told during the match also made sense too. So I enjoyed the match.
I liked it. I think it would have been better if Lesnar won, especially with what he becomes.
Yeah, I was surprised there. Like I said, even with the stipulation, I was surprised that Lesnar lost his match. I remember when I watched it, I was surprised at Lesnar because he had just come back from UFC, and from what I remember, he had dominated John Cena.
He just came back. I think Triple H was his first feud.
I thought it was John Cena. It had SummerSlam, Suplex City.
Suplex City was Roman. That was after the Taker streak.
Okay, but yeah, surprised that he lost this.
Oh, you're right. He lost to Cena Extreme Rules, and then he went after Triple H. Okay.
Yeah, I remember one of them, he elbowed Cena and made him bleed. He did it to Orton too, like one of those UFC elbows.
Yeah.
I just remember that Brock was like a menace.
So we have the 2013 Hall of Fame. The inductees are Mick Foley, Trish Stratus for some reason. She was also knocked up. Mr. Bob Backlund, Booker T, Donald J. Trump. Is there anything he hasn't done? He's been president twice. He's brought peace to the Middle East. He has a Nobel Prize. He's WWE Hall of Famer, which he said this was his greatest accomplishment.
Yeah, I remember that. He said this was his, at the time, he didn't know, although he was dressed like he
dressed. It was only 3 years before his inauguration.
Oh, so he probably knows he's running.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Bruno Sammartino was the headliner. And yeah, it was really fucking lackluster.
Well, revisionist history. Donald Trump was
okay, fair enough.
The president being in the Hall of Fame was the headline.
WrestleMania 30 got a advertisement. It's going to be in Nolans. Cool. And the attendance was 80,676. I guess that was a record. And then we just move on to John Cena versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. So it starts off with a lot of back and forth. Rock would get going, then Cena would get going. Then they traded rest holds. Cena hit Rock with a belly-to-belly suplex. Rock catches him with a Samoan drop after a missed elbow. Cena hits a ghetto-ass fisherman suplex that he's never won with, and he tries to win with it. He goes for a shoulder tackle, misses. Rock goes for a spine buster. Cena tries a STFU and goes back to the stupid shoulder tackles. Rock fights out of a belly-to-back suplex, locks in a sharpshooter. Looks slightly better than last year, but not much. Cena fights out of the sharpshooter, hits a belly-to-back suplex. Then he goes for a 5-knuckle shuffle. Rock moves out of the way, hits Cena with a DDT. He goes for a rock bottom. Cena counters with a crippler crossface. Then he hits another belly-to-back suplex, goes back to the 5-knuckle shuffle and hit it this time. Goes for the FU. Rock fights out, hits a spine buster. Gears up for the people's elbow. Cena grabs him, locks in the STFU. Rock breaks out of the STFU, hits a rock bottom. Cena kicks out, hits an FU. He goes for a top rope leg drop, misses. Rock hits a spine buster, then the people's elbow. Then they trade punches. Rock goes for a crossbody for some reason. Cena catches him and goes for an FU. Rock fights out, hits a rock bottom, then tries to hit Cena with a 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena pops to his feet, catches Rock with an FU. They trade punches again. Rock goes for another rock bottom. Cena reverses it into a rock bottom of his own, then makes to go for a people's elbow. Suckers Rock into hopping to his feet, gets him up for an FU. Rock fights out of the FU, hits a rock bottom. Cena goes for an FU. Rock escapes, goes for a rock bottom. Cena escapes, goes for an FU. Rock escapes, tries another rock bottom. Cena fights out for another FU attempt. Rock fights out, stops the shit with a DDT, then goes for another rock bottom because we haven't seen those enough. Cena counters with an FU 1, 2, 3. Cena and Rock have a moment. They shake hands, hug. Rock raises Cena's hand in the entrance ramp.
And they said a lot of stuff to each other too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I enjoyed this more than the first match or less. I obviously enjoyed the first match. I don't think the crowd was into it at the beginning. I think at one point I saw a "You Both Suck" sign.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the crowd wasn't that into it, which then, as I remember in the Fandango match, if the crowd's not into it, it doesn't really do good.
I definitely didn't like this match as much as the first one. The year build-up, it was being advertised as a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Added in the fact that Cena actually fucking lost for once.
True. They did do a better thing of building that one up.
I think the first one was a moment. The second one was just a sequel. And you know what happens with sequels. I also didn't like, all they did was their moves. They escaped their moves.
True.
Rock would hit a rock bottom, and then Cena would just go for an FU. And it's just...
I did like the callback to the first one, where Cena was going to do the people's elbow, and then he ran the ropes and stopped himself. It's like, I got you.
He ended up getting rock bottom anyway. So did he really get him?
Did he get rock bottom?
Yeah.
I thought he reversed that.
Tapped his forehead, then Cena went for an FU, and then Rock escaped and hit a 10th rock bottom.
Okay. Oh, I still liked it. I don't like how Cena kept kicking out of the rock bottom. It's like, what are we doing? It's the rock bottom. You should only need one to win the match. It is the rock bottom after all. But yeah, overall, I liked it. I would say the second half of the match, I was really into it. The first half was like, oh, we saw this last year. It just seems like a repeat.
Yeah, I didn't been there, done that, and it was a lot worse. So The Rock suffered legitimate torn muscles and tendons around his pelvis from the match, and later he returned to WrestleMania 30 in a non-wrestling appearance because he's a bitch. And the Raw after WrestleMania, Cena put his championship on the line against anyone. Mark Henry answered the challenge, which turned into a number one contender match. So I guess Cena wasn't about that life. Cena won by countout and was assaulted by Henry. Ryback then came out to save Cena, making Henry retreat, helping Cena to his feet. Then he attacked Cena prior to an episode of Raw, where Cena was scheduled to defend the WWE Championship against Ryback. So Ryback is an idiot, unless it wasn't really clear. The way it's written, it makes him seem like he took him out before the match.
Mm-hmm.
But if he attacked him before the match and then wrestled him...
Maybe you're trying to soften him up.
Yeah, so there's an asterisk with that Ryback being an idiot part. So on another episode of Raw, the match with Ryback and Cena was made. It was a last man standing match. Ended in a no contest after Ryback rammed Cena through an entrance stage. The night after, Ryback came out with an ambulance and challenged Cena at Payback to an ambulance match. Cena accepted and made the match 3 stages of hell, in which Cena, of course, won.
Mm.
Wade Barrett invoked his rematch clause on Raw and defeated The Miz, reclaiming his Intercontinental Championship for his third reign. In reality, this was done so The Miz could take time off to film the blockbuster movie Christmas Bounty. What was your favorite moment of Christmas Bounty?
Christmas Bounty?
Yeah.
Huh.
You don't remember watching Christmas Bounty over and over again?
No, but I'm going to watch it. I've already halfway through read one. Well, not halfway, a little bit less than halfway.
So Barrett was set up to put the title on the line at Payback in a triple threat match against The Miz and Fandango. Fandango was injured and replaced by Paul Heyman's newest client, Curtis Axel. Axel won the championship. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger had one more match to end their feud, but it turned into a 2-on-1 handicap match with Del Rio facing Swagger and Dutch Mantel. Del Rio won, but had his leg injured by Swagger. Dolph Ziggler took the opportunity to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. Despite Del Rio putting up a fight, Ziggler pinned him to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Ziggler was soon concussed and put out of action, but still held the title. And then Del Rio and Swagger feuded over the number 1 contendership. So the handicap match earlier, I guess, didn't end the feud. And at Extreme Rules, Del Rio won an I Quit match for the number 1 contendership. Del Rio defeated Ziggler at Payback to win back the World Heavyweight Championship for a second time, ending Ziggler's reign at 69 days. And during the match, a double turn occurred. Del Rio turned heel, attacking Ziggler's head, taking advantage of his concussion, and Ziggler turned face, showing a never say die attitude.
Good for him.
And Brock Lesnar returned to Raw to challenge Triple H to a steel cage match at Extreme Rules. Triple H suffered second-degree burns to his torso and arms during his WrestleMania ring entrance when the stage sprayed dry ice on him. A week later, Triple H came out to the surprise of Paul Heyman to accept the challenge and gave Heyman a pedigree. Lesnar won the rematch at Extreme Rules. Heyman came out the next night to reveal his newest client, Curtis Axel, and then Triple H interrupted, issued a challenge to Axel before slapping him. So Triple H is challenging Curtis Axel now. That's where we're at. Later that night, Triple H suffered a concussion during the match, and it ended in a no contest. But the victory somehow went to Axel.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay.
I actually just watched it the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he got concussed, and they had to, literally hold him down because he was trying to fight through it.
Well, Triple H returned, attempting to fight Axel, but he was forbidden by his wife Stephanie McMahon and his father-in-law Vince. I guess Axel is that dangerous. And Triple H returned to the ring to fight Axel, and during the match, Vince took the ring bell, stopped the match after Triple H tried to restart it. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned brain injury storyline?
Yeah.
On Raw, CM Punk came out to talk. And it was about his match with The Undertaker and his historic WWE Championship reign. He gave Heyman the microphone, hugged him, and walked out of the arena. He returned by defeating Chris Jericho at Payback. Then he dropped Heyman as manager, causing Heyman to turn on Punk, and Punk became face again. The Undertaker came out the next night on Raw to pay tribute to Paul Bearer, but was interrupted by The Shield, who tried to attack him until Team Hell No made the save. The next week, Undertaker wrestled his last match on Raw, teaming up with Team Hell No in a losing effort against The Shield in a pinfall from Dean Ambrose on Daniel Bryan. The same week, Undertaker wrestled his last match on SmackDown by winning against Ambrose of The Shield by submission with Hell's Gate. Afterwards, Undertaker made some defense against The Shield, who attacked him, but Roman Reigns speared him through the barricade in the Timekeepers area. After SmackDown went off the air, Undertaker was saved by D-Generation X, which was Triple H, Billy Gunn, and Road Dogg. CM Punk would become the final victim of The Undertaker's undefeated streak. At WrestleMania 30, he faces Brock Lesnar, thus ending the streak at 21-1. So this was the last good Undertaker WrestleMania match.
Yeah, it was about to happen. So,
well, I know you've been waiting for this. Jericho continued his feud with Fandango. Each man attacked each other after matches, and then Jericho defeated Fandango in a rematch at Extreme Rules.
So keep that going.
You can rest easy tonight. WrestleMania 29 was the last WrestleMania to feature the World Heavyweight Championship, as the title was unified with the WWE Championship at December's TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs event. with the WWE Championship being renamed the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It would also be the final WrestleMania to feature 2 world championships until WrestleMania 33 in 2017. So just 4 fucking years. And our next WrestleMania, of course, is WrestleMania 30. It's in New Orleans. The main event is Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton. Triple threat Extreme Rules match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But before that, we have WCW Slamboree 98. It's in Worcester, Mass. The major storyline in the build-up to Slamboree was the split of the New World Order into separate factions. Kevin Nash led one faction known as the Wolfpack, which adopted a red and black color scheme. The other faction consisted of members that stayed loyal to NWO leader Hollywood Hogan. They retained the original black and white color scheme, but they would become known as NWO Hollywood. The fracturing of the group and several developments that followed played a significant role in the events that led to the 2 main featured bouts on the card. And the matches to look forward to are Chris Benoit versus Fit Finlay for the WCW TV title. We have Perry Saturn versus Goldberg again for the WCW US title. We have Bret Hart versus Randy Savage. The special guest referee is Roddy Piper. And then the main event is Sting and the Giant versus the Outsiders for the WCW tag team titles.
Which was news to me that they are even champions again. Or maybe they never even lost it.
They beat the Steiners. Remember Scott Steiner turned on Rick and he just handed the belts over to him?
Okay, so yeah, they've been champions for that amount of time.
Yeah, this has been a couple pay-per-views.
I just feel like, number 1, I haven't seen Scott Hall on TV. Number 2, I haven't seen the belts.
Because Hall's been in rehab, I think.
Oh.
And they didn't really emphasize the tag division.
Yeah, really, at this point, there's only the Steiners.
Not anymore. Shit, Harlem Heat's not there anymore.
Yeah, they don't have tag teams.
No, just the Outsiders. But that was our Retro Rewind.
Yep, and on that note, if you agree with anything, let us know in the comments below. If you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check us out on all of our social medias, wherever you so choose. And survey says, one more for the good guys.